as there it is. It's talking to us. It's official now, folks. So everything you say or do is on record for all of life. Isn't it funny that was always true? We just don't bring that much consciousness often to what we're saying or doing until we've got what we call those third eyes on us. But the truth is, and we're going to talk about this a little bit today, particularly as it relates to parenting, and then very specifically as it relates to fathering, um, because I think one of the tomes of the Buddha, and it actually, he begins these teachings very early in the Eightfold Path. In fact, so early in the Eightfold Path that he begins naming parents in the First Noble Truth called Right View by beginning with these words: there is the mother and the father. That's it. There is the mother and the father. What he is saying, I believe, is that the same thing Rupert Sheldrake, who's an amazing scientist. If you don't know Rupert Sheldrake, look him up. Rupert Sheldrake, in a scientific frame, has a concept called, and I'm going to link these two folks, so stay with me. He has a concept called morphic resonance. Let's hang on to that. Morphic resonance. What does that mean? Rupert Sheldrake is saying exactly in that description of morphic resonance, which I'm going to define for you, exactly what the Buddha said. There is the mother and the father. And what the Buddha might say if he continued, which is, without this, there could not be you. That this is an essential, primary, bottom line condition for all things to come, for the gift of this precious human life, for the possibilities, the capacities of the seed-like nascent you to become a Buddha, to be goodness, to contribute to the good, that without that essential beginning, there could be no now. Rupert Sheldrake said in Morphic Resonance, and it was radical in his time, I do not believe in the karma that is one individual to the next. I do believe that all conditions now are a memory for the next moment and the next and the next. He also went on to say, this is beyond seeing. It is something we ultimately know by watching phenomenon. So let me give you an example of this, and then we'll read Springsteen's tome on parenting. What we know in science, Tom Cousins, I think, is on. Tom, you're beautiful understanding of this as well, because I've heard you speak it. We know that a deer, as an example, an animal who has been shocked by an electric fence will bear a child who will know beyond gene expression not to go near that fence. Not to go, not just by learning, because we have separated parent from child. So this is not just direct learning, but of course could also, and is also true. But that infant will know in some way not to go near the fence, even when not with that parent. And we have evidence for that. So that morphic resonance at the beginning, then, the Buddha himself says, so then beyond generosity, the first act on the path. Beyond generosity, beyond going forward, that means propagating the good. The third greatest act, then, isn't this amazing, is honoring the mother and the father. Look at the weight of that. Beyond generosity, not the first, beyond going forward, the propagation of good, the third most essential quality of goodness is honoring the mother and the father. So this means no small thing. No small thing. So let's read Springsteen's statements about this. Then we're going to do the practice of open, spacious awareness, honoring all that has come before, particularly the benefits of the Father, whatever those protection, safety, wisdom, structure, whatever. And then talk about how no matter the conditions, we are not dependent on those. No matter how good they were, no matter how not good they were, no matter how brilliant, no matter how not brilliant, we are not dependent on those for our own happiness, our own freedom, and our own peace and ease. Good news, good news. And that they are to be honored for their contribution. Okay, let me just check for a second. I just want to make sure that we're all muted. I'm hearing a little something in the background. I think I've got it now. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to look at this quote. I'm just going to read it because I don't want to take too much more time. So here we are, and you can prepare to sit. Just let this soak in. The wisdom of Bruce Springsteen's understanding that we honor our parents by taking what is good and leaving the rest is radical. In meditation, we are trained not to push away the unpleasant and not to cling to the pleasant. But what Springsteen is saying is a little different. This is about not rejecting one's parents because they were imperfect, not trying to force them to acknowledge their shortcomings, not rejecting becoming a parent because of what was done to us, not dwelling on the scars one's parents created, not forcing oneself to pretend that one's parents were fine when they were not, but simply being able to take what was good while leaving behind what was not. There's no blame in Springsteen's words. His comments are now all the more poignant. Here was a man who was able to honor his parents by refusing to replicate what they had messed up. A man who understood that in his very rejection of them, not doing it their way is what he means, was an appreciation of their efforts. In trying to do a better job, Springsteen was nevertheless able to keep his heart open to them, imperfections and all. When forgiveness is typically taught, an emphasis is often placed on sending loving kindness or metta, even to those who have hurt us most deeply. This is one approach. What it goes on to say is that Springsteen clearly had not decided to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Rather than cultivating a mind of compassion that could forgive the most egregious abuse, he seems to find forgiveness in the recognition of having simply survived. Emerging from his stark early years, he grew up, I think, in New Jersey, undoubtedly aided by the devotion to his music, he discovered that he was not destroyed. His own generative capacity, his own desire for family, his own ability to love were all reasonably intact. This recognition of his intactness, I would say wholeness, gave him the capacity not to blame and ultimately gave him permission to forgive. The source of forgiveness lies in the realization that we are not solely products of what was done to us. This is key. The realization that there is something essential within each of us that is not tarnished by any previous or calamitous experience. And then I write, we are greater than our conditioning and our consequence. We are greater than that. We are not solely the product of our conditions. And this is one of the beauties of this birthright of being human. And so let's practice that birthright by being present and conscious now. So finding a comfortable yet supported posture, we want to invite a certain energy, alert attention, letting that heart space, heart center open forward. We let the shoulders rest back, the face be soft, relaxed. We point the crown of the head upwards towards the skies, and we ground the feet in this, the womb of Mother Earth. And once we have established the posture, we turn inward and cultivate these qualities of awakened heart mind. Boundless, open, spacious, luminous, and vast. And then we simply rest. May we offer the benefits of this practice today to all fathers, fathers living, fathers dead, fathers now, fathers in the future, new fathers, fathers of many years. May they all be blessed. And with the strike of the bell, since we have established the body, this body is the body, we're just going to open for a moment out into that vast open space all around you. Jim and I have the luxury of being able to hear the birds and feel the morning air. We begin by opening. We rest the attention again and again in that open space, letting the mind take the shape of that which it rests upon. If you need additional supports, you can use the breath itself, breathing into the open space, letting the open space be breathed into you. Remembering whatever the conditions of the present moment in that open space, the caw of the crow, a complete silence abides. We rest back in the wide angled view, the wide angled lens, so that we do not cling and we do not resist the momentary arising, whatever it is. Some we like, some we don't like. Can we take gratitude, be glad, rejoice, take delight in the reality of awareness itself, gifted to us by our mothers and fathers? If you have any sense of the blessing of the present moment, be it sound, body sensation, the capacity for thought, for emotions, for love, for healing, for forgiveness, for gratitude, then we, by obligation, by complete understanding, by our own wisdom, have gratitude for our parents. We can take everything from the antecedent, the moment just before, and use it all. As Springsteen said, not only the perfection of the parent, but the imperfection itself as an opportunity for wisdom, compassion, gratitude, and love. Not only the things we liked, but the things we learned from what we didn't like. Can we honor it all? Just beginning here in this practice, opening completely to this moment will inspire and prepare us best for this one. Well, this is not a practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the natural arising of opening to the present moment. You don't have to graft anything on. You don't have to turn towards anything special. We're opening to include it all. Understanding the value, the benefit, the gift of the present moment in its wholeness. We clean the lens of our own conditioning in the present moment. We let go of preference, we let go of bias, we let go of liking and not liking, so that we can fully arrive here. And as we arrive to the present moment, we remember there is nothing to do but open and breathe. As we rest in stillness and silence, we begin to recognize our conditioning. We begin to see the vast open space and all the objects within it. As a part of the whole. We get bigger, wider, more open, more spacious. And we train in opening and including it all. In recognizing the preference, the reactivity, the resonance, we are liberated. And can once again open beyond that very conditioning, including it in awareness. And then I would like us to direct our attention more specifically now, having rested in open, spacious awareness, we're going to place on purpose. This is a form of contemplation, meditation. We're going to place on purpose the image of our fathers, if we know them. Or if not, maybe our fathers as we imagine them. Some of both will appear. Just recognizing the image that you're constructing. Is it what stage, what age? What body? Who appears? Is it a biological father? Is it someone who has cared for us as a father, a grandparent, a caregiver, a coach, a teacher? Just pick one. And just checking in as you're making contact with this father. For you, what's the felt sense? As you're holding the image, as you're making contact with this relationship to Father, as you breathe it in, Feel into the body. What are the effects? Remember, we're resting primarily in that open space so that we can form our clearest, wisest, most loving relationship to Father. You might call a specific moment to mind. One in which the experience of Father is prominent. Investigate that experience. Where were you? What's the interaction? Pick just one. It likely is a template for many other experiences. My experience as an example is I'm at the beach in the water with my father, and I actually get pulled under. What are the physical sensations that you notice as you hold this experience, this Father experience? Where do you notice it in the body? We're not trying to create an experience. We're not looking for something in particular. We're just opening to include in awareness this experience as we hold this object of mind called Father and Father experience. And you can open then to include in addition particular thoughts that might be coming up as you're holding this experience. If this seems overwhelming or if it feels too intense for whatever reason for you, you can always rest back. Coming back into the present moment, the refuge that is available here. And take a few breaths. Re-establish, anchor awareness. Then you can resume, begin again when you're ready. There are sometimes positive, not so positive experiences. You get to pick. As Rupert Sheldrake said, there is a morphic resonance here, even. The way we hold the image of a parent. Notice something about it. opening to include particular emotions. Some may be pleasant, others may be unpleasant. They are all available, all accessible within this vast open space of awareness. They can be held and breathed and known. Remember, as the Buddha said, there is the mother and the father. They set the resonance, they set a base lens. There is a karmic influence. Their gifts, their humanness, their imperfections, their clarity, their wisdom, their love are all present here. We're just opening to see what arises. Not your job to recount them all. That's the thinking. We're just seeing what the experience holds. See if you can hold the object of the Father and just allow experience as it is unfolding. Memories, some pleasant, some unpleasant, possibly images. Simply let them come and go. And then I'd like you to picture your father. We're going to direct attention here for this part of the meditation. Your father, get him in here present. And remember, father can mean any caregiver, any influencer, anyone who offered you those qualities, that relationship. And your father has something in his hand, a gift, might be big or small, maybe being held in one hand or two, but he is offering this most lovingly to you. This one gift. And you're open to receiving it. And so you stretch out your hands to receive this gift. being passed down to you. And feeling the effects of receiving this gift. It may be even unnamed at this time. It may be something clear. It may be an object, an attribute, an experience. But in your most loving, most wise, open, spacious awareness, you can receive this gift. And what do you do with the gift? Mine was immediately breathed in. Yours may be kept in a box, metabolized, integrated, synthesized in some important other way. Maybe just clear seeing and knowing. As Springsteen said, we can keep the good and let go of the rest. Or we can keep the good and bring clarity to the rest. Our parents' own pain, their traumas, their confusion can be transmuted as an actual gift to our wisdom. We have survived, Springsteen said. And maybe this is one of the greatest forms of love. We have survived. Feelings of connection, feelings of distress, feelings neutral. We can simply let those feelings also come and be and inform in their own time. And how do we live this gift forward? Remember, one is generosity, the offering of the gift. The second is the going forward with it. So, how do we make this gift most alive in our own lives? What thoughts, words, and deeds are its expression? How do we share that gift with others? That resonance continues. That wisdom, that love, that care, that humanness. It can all be used And so we can rejoice, take delight, and be grateful. That resonance is also love. Holding the image of the Father and whatever goodness was available. Breathing it in, knowing it is now yours. And getting permission to leave the rest behind. Not having to take that in, not having to be impacted in any negative way by those experiences. We don't have to get rid of them. We can remember, use them all. Greater wisdom, greater clarity, greater capacity for love can come from them. And then we're going to rest back for a few moments in with this resonance already integrated, already included, already invited. We just rest back in it. Nothing to construct or fabricate or make. It's already here. We just breathe it. Open, spacious awareness that includes everything. And as we form that relationship to the Father, we actually also open it to ourselves. This is a part of the necessity of the relationship and its inquiry. That which we have held against, that which we judge, that which we condemn, that which we hate in the parent, we actually also bring that with us. Those very qualities are then not investigated, not seen, not acknowledged, not held in awareness in ourselves. This is the cause of suffering. But we are freed and liberated each breath in recognition, in acceptance, in the inquiry. We are freed. Our happiness and our freedom are not bound by conditions, but by awareness, by clear seeing, by open-heartedness itself. this becomes the most radical act of love. May all fathers be filled with loving kindness and be well. May all fathers be peaceful and at ease. And may all fathers be happy. May they know their place in the family of things. May we all be happy, be peaceful, and have ease. With recognition to fathers for their contribution. And may this practice today contribute. So there we are. We'll talk about this a little bit because one, I'd be interested to hear how this practice informs, impacts you, and what particular qualities, characteristics you noticed coming forward. I have a little something from someone here. How soon does this post to the website? It posts about as quickly as I get it to Leslie, because Leslie is amazing. And so however quickly it comes to iCloud, we'll try to get this up for those who would like to share these teachings and this practice. So we'll work on that, Marie. Thank you. So fathers can get a seriously bad rap. I have to say, not that all parents can't and don't in our culture in particular. We are a culture that holds a lot of blame, I think, a lot of responsibility for our pain, our trauma, our unhappiness, our suffering. And I think that's a bit unfortunate for a couple reasons. It's not that it isn't necessarily true, by the way, because as we are acknowledging the whole truth, there is reality that parents are also human. they also come with their own pain, their own trauma, their own lack of skill, their own um, suffering. And in some way, Rupert Sheldrake has no bias in morphic resonance to say we're only going to get the good news uh, at all. In fact, what we all know is that we have received both. We have gotten certain gifts, certain skills, certain wisdoms, certain capacities, and certain potential from our parents, as well as certain vulnerabilities. And I think the Buddha's idea, there is the mother and the father, is, a most beautiful statement, both about interconnectedness and interdependence, about the reality that that which was before shows itself now, and that in the reality of awareness, that which can be seen, that which can be known, actually can be of benefit. That is the essence of the Buddhist path, by the way. That which is known, recognized, seen, and can be held will be of benefit. That includes then everything as we did rested in open spacious awareness, the experiences we like as well as the experiences we don't like, in the light of awareness, are all gifts. They are not to be mistaken all pleasant. They are not to be mistaken. That doesn't make them less beneficial. And in fact, I have to tell you truthfully, what I have learned through my own inquiry in my own life is that often I have needed some kind of suffering 2x4 across the forehead to wake up to certain aspects, and that I could even be grateful for those. That doesn't mean, as we were saying earlier, that abuses, traumas, that we just say, oh, well, or to that, but that how do we then work with everything? Gabor Mate just did a movie. I sent it to many of you, those of you I thought who would have time or would be interested. And the name of the film was The Wisdom of Trauma. And he could have expanded that really to just say the wisdom of being alive, couldn't he? That there is benefit in everything if we can hold it in awareness. And today, for me, specifically honoring the benefits, the contributions, both pleasant and unpleasant, that I have received from my own father, with whom I have a very deep respect, honoring, and love, who was also in no way perfect, in no way perfect, but as we know, we learn from it all. So I'd like to hear what your experience of the practice was, and how you metabolize these gifts. What are they for you? What do you notice? What came forward for you? I think I just got something here from Ryan, a brand new dad. I'm sorry we couldn't talk directly with you, Ryan. Ryan says, so very beautiful, immensely grateful for that practice. I must embody it and care for my baby girl now. Yes, thank you. Blessings and love to all. Thank you, Ryan. I'm so glad that you were here and you came to mind for me today in the practice. So know that you are being held in the infinite arms of the collective community and awareness. And we're sending you lots of strength, lots of love and wisdom so that you can care for your daughter and yourself in that. Thank you. Experiences. Come on, say hello or write, and I'll read it. I've got Jim here, but I'm not going to pick on him, though it'd be easy. I won't do that. I do know that Jim, you have an ongoing relationship, I think, with Chris's dad, right? Who is still alive. Joe. Got a chance to meet Joe. Quite a present character. Very carries a lot of the qualities I think we often imagine or assign to fathers. So Andy says, Andy got a gift, turquoise. My gift was a piece of turquoise. What was that meaning for you, Andy? Is there something about turquoise that holds any particular resonance or meaning? He writes, my dad had a deep respect for Native American communities. Beautiful. And so was offering you some of the respect and wisdom from that. It sounds like in that turquoise. Beautiful. My dad offered me his hand, an extended arm. I was drowning. Actually, it was a real story. In the beach, there was an undertow, and I was being sucked under, and he was chatting with some friends in a little circle, and off I was going, getting pulled under, and I don't even know that I called out to him, but all of a sudden, there was this strong arm and this hand pulling me up. That has had a significant impact on my life, of course, as well as that I feel that often, if not almost always, that arm, that hand reaching to pull me up. So that was my experience. I experienced that in a very spiritual, well, I guess what I mean is both tangible and untangible ways. Is probably a better way to put that. The reality of that, as well as the continual sense that I am being held and lifted up. What else?
Diana.
Hi, Marie. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. That was beautiful. Thank you. I have an ongoing, very strong picture of my dad as well as my mom waiting for me at Union Station in LA. And I would come from San Diego for the weekend and often work. And I just have, it's such a nice picture of them and him just waiting for me in whatever way I showed up.
Yes.
That they were there to receive, and it was okay. However, I was. They were going to be there.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Isn't it interesting, Marie and others, that these experiences of this father are just one of the many experiences of awareness itself? That in some way we have just imputed and attributed, and it's real. It's not that these are not real. These experiences of holding, of opening, of presence, of wide open, spacious waiting, that these are actually the embodied qualities of awareness itself, and that we receive them from the facets of experience in others, including, I hope, our fathers as well. That's beautiful. Thank you. Happiness. I'm going to read, somebody wrote something here. I want to capture that. Leslie, my dad's wisdom that newly informs me happiness is the most important thing. A lot of wisdom in that. And he was a very humble, kind, and generous man, and as is Leslie. So it's very clear, once again, that morphic resonance has its way. We are struck by the karmic resonance of our parents, good and good news, as well as not limited by that. There was a long conversation with the Dalai Lama that I happened to have the chance to participate in, where someone said, am I stuck with the pains? Am I stuck with the trauma? Am I stuck with the limits, the humanness of my parents in their human difficulty? And he said, that is not being stuck. You are privileged to hold it. You are privileged to have it, to work that to the end of suffering. This too is a gift. And as you can imagine, the couple thousand people in the stadium hushed over that. Yeah, and it didn't mean it didn't hurt, and it didn't mean that there isn't work, and it didn't mean that everything was perfect or pleasant or even skillful. And it did mean, and you have the opportunity to transform that suffering. You have been gifted this and that you know it is suffering is the beginning of the gift, and that you know it wasn't skillful is the beginning of the gift, very simply put, and that you know it is not that which you choose to propagate is also a part of the gift. So it takes some real opening for us, doesn't it? Especially around those things that were not always positive. But thank you for sharing, Marie, that beautiful experience of a very kind of neutral event, just waiting, just being there, just those wide open arms, right, to receive us. And that was the beginning of our lives with our parents. They opened their arms and hearts to receive us, whatever else is true. What else? I see another something here. Let me see if I can get it. So how we hold our parents, just to summarize this, how we hold our parents has a lot to do with how we hold the world and how we hold ourselves and how we hold life. And that we can recognize these qualities, that we can activate them in awareness, that we can say, the courage of my father is mine, as well as his humanness and his vulnerabilities, that they're all true, and that there is no need to reject or push away. And in fact, in the light of awareness, can all be gifts. I think that's the bottom line there. I don't see anybody with anything much else to say. If not, I'll wait one more minute and then we will talk about next week. I hear someone, is that Tom?
Diana?
Yes.
Hi, Diana.
Good morning.
Good morning. And so I know I'm not the only one in the Sangha who's the son of a World War II veteran. My father, growing up, I felt that my father was distant, kind of on the side. I remember writing something during I think it was a inner child workshop, and a poem, and my father was the lone wolf that would kind of circle around the pack, the family, and be there but distant. Um, it took me a long time to develop a really close relationship with my dad. Um, one of the things that I learned is that he and my older brother, who was born actually the day he landed in England, my brother was born, and my father and my brother never got along. It was, it's something I can see and understand as a father, and love my dad. I recognize that he was the adult in the room, and for whatever reason couldn't step up. But it's okay. I mean, it's like, this is a man who watched his best friend be blown out of the sky. This is a man who lost two brothers to the war. It's a man who had to look after, in a way, his younger brother who had epilepsy and developed mental health problems from it. And, they're just, I mean, the trauma that he experienced and how he came through this. I mean, it was what brought him through this was the gift that he gave me, which is a patient abiding. I mean, how else can you survive in the cockpit of a plane when you've got flak enemy fighters trying to take you down? How else do you survive when you lose two brothers and have to look after the younger brother who resents you deeply for it, for being the success that he could not be? At some point in my life, I could look back and see the difficulties my father had at being a father. And my goal was to be a better father. And it's something my dad and I could talk about. My dad, he certainly was not terrible. He didn't beat us, any of that. He was just distant. So we developed the most, close, loving relationship once I understood, once I could wake up and see clearly. I look back as a young boy and as a young man, just continually looking for that paternal leadership, sometimes in the wrong places and making mistakes because of following the wrong people. But becoming a dad and taking a more inward approach, and a more loving approach, my dad was there for me and I could be there for him. It was interesting, at some point doing some training, I was probably in my 30s, late 30s. And this was, actually, I was seeing a counselor to help me with career changes. And he asked me, so what do you see? What is your, what's been your sort of path or desire or goal in life? And I thought for the longest time, and I'm still in a way puzzled by this, that this is the answer that came from me, but my answer was, I see that I'm to be here to help my dad transition when he dies. And I was.
Yes, which is what a gift.
Oh yeah, one of the most profound experiences in my life.
Yes, what a gift.
Yeah.
And this is some of the gifts, I think, Tom, that we don't often recognize.
Mm-hmm.
The gift of forgiveness, the gift of understanding, the gift of patience, the gift of compassion, recognizing parents and fathers as human, the gift of your own father protecting you, likely,
Mm-hmm.
with his shutdown from his own trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I'm not going to propagate that. I'm not
Mhm.
going to propagate that. But that also means I can't be fully open because there was no care for that at the time. There was no acknowledging. There was just the going forward.
Mhm.
And you did the best
Absolutely.
you did the best you could, called I'm going to
Mhm.
feed my family. I'm going to, right, provide. I'm going to show up every day at the end uh, of the day. And that, uh, particularly for those fathers who were veterans, was a big deal. It was a big deal because they were traumatized.
Mhm.
And yet, right, they went forward and did
Yeah,
what they could. We all got here.
absolutely.
We all got here. I watched this, by the way, Tom. I feel a lot of deep respect and admiration for what you're saying you offered your father, because I'm watching that in my own household. I'm watching my husband every day
Mm,
take care of his father from
mm,
beginning to middle to end of that day with a father who was not really able to offer that to him. And I'm amazed at the way that right out of that came, I will do more. I will be better. I will love more directly. And the commitment to that is staggering to me. Like, where are you drawing this from? And in some way, what I have to know, right? I have to know is that his own father, both in his humanness and in his showing up in the way he could, set the template for that. I have to know that's true. And that's the Buddha Sutta. There is the mother and the father. This is the beginning. And you cannot separate them. You cannot make them distinct. You cannot say one does not
mm.
impact the other, right? Just as
Yeah,
you're saying, the goodness of my father is known, and the vulnerabilities and humanness of my father are known, and I can love him. And
absolutely.
I can love him in the whole truth, right? In the whole truth. And that was what I thought Bruce Springsteen's
Mm,
statements were. I am alive, not in spite of them, but directly as a result of them, in
mm,
the good, which we can take forward, and in their limits, which we can bring awareness to, understanding to, compassion to, forgiveness to, mercy to, clear seeing to, and consequently also our gifts. And now we're also gifts. As I watch this in my husband, wow, I say every day, wow, there he is, um, offering because he knows the truth of suffering, the truth of that not being available, the truth of that not being present, right? Very much like
mhm.
you, informed by our suffering as well as by our blessings. They are then, says the Buddhist teaching, uh, not distinct. They're no longer this is this and that is that. They are one. That the difficulties, as Gabor Mate himself says, by the way, about trauma, which is our trauma is also our one of our greatest blessings if we're willing to greet it, if we're willing to turn towards, as said the Buddha, which is suffering is often the path by which we arrive to happiness, freedom, by seeing it clearly and its causes. Those are the Four Noble Truths. And so thank you for that sharing. That is very meaningful for us all as we hold the truth of both in life, pleasant and unpleasant, that which we like and don't, that which is good and bad, that which is seen and unseen, that which is known and yet to be known. These are all contributions. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to sit for a minute before we end. I want to let Marie know I'm going to do my best to get this practice up. Please share it because I think we struggle again in the polarities, in the, well, that was good, but this sucked. And because that sucked, Well, no, actually, all of that can be used in the light of open, spacious, loving awareness to become of benefit. And so with that, let's sit together for a moment, finding our way back to the body, the felt sense of the body as it sits right here in this beautiful day. Recollecting all the benefits of that which has come before, all the clear seeing, all the knowing. We stand on the shoulders of others. Our wisdom not possible without theirs. May we send blessings, all the merits of this practice, all the gifts that we can accumulate here. May we send them to all fathers on this day. New fathers like Ryan, fathers that are here and not here. May we bless them all. And may this practice today be a benefit. May we offer gratitude, appreciation, forgiveness where it is possible, and love. May we all be happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. May we all have peace and be at ease. May we all remember who we really are, recognizing our own true nature. And the gifts of our fathers. And may it be so this very day and tomorrow as we celebrate fathers. Happy Father's Day. A deep bow to all fathers. Thank you all so much for your care, your love, your protection, your courage. To all fathers everywhere, to all of your fathers as well. I will not be in attendance Monday at the 5:15. Most of you don't attend that 5:15. It was at Soul of Yoga. I am ending that for the summer. I will be present for the 8 o'clock summer solstice meditation this Monday at 8 p.m. And Andy will be at Seaside Center for Spiritual Awakening, Seaside Center and Lake for women, as I've understood it now. I put that out there, not recognizing that this was a sound healing for women this Monday at 6:30. You have to get there early. The Seaside Women's Circle is putting that on. I thought it was open to everyone. I'm sorry, it is not. It is for women. I hope to be there, leaving a few minutes early to get to the 8 o'clock summer solstice meditation that will be on Zoom. Tuesday, will be practice as normal. I will be on Thursday. Wait till you hear this, gang. I will be doing a meditation on Thursday, probably from my car on the way to Vegas to visit my family. What an opportunity for holding each other there. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to try. I'm going to give it a go. And then Saturday, I will be Zooming from Vegas to the community. I'll hopefully find a spot where we can practice together. So that's what it looks like for us this week. Once again, happy Father's Day to all. Blessings and love to all of you who are fathers, and to those of us who have had the privilege of fathers. Thank you all. Have a really wonderful weekend day. Enjoy. I've heard it's going to be super hot everywhere else. I feel so lucky today to be in San Diego, where I think we have a 70-degree day planned. Blessings to all of you. Much love. Be well, everyone.